Hi, my name is Brad Holloway, and I am the instructor for Intro to Accounting. I just wanted to make a short video here to help you get started on Chapter 1 for this class. One thing you do need to know up front is that for Intro to Accounting, we're only going to use the first 6 chapters of the textbook. If you purchased that through the bookstore here on campus, you got it in a loose leaf format, which means that it came ready to be put into 3-ring binders. Like I said, for this class you only need the first 6 chapters, so I would put those first 6 chapters into a binder by themselves and then put the rest of the chapters into a larger binder, and you can put those away to be used for Accounting 1, Accounting 2, and Managerial Accounting if you choose to take those other courses. So this textbook is kind of expensive, but if you hold on to it, you can use it for several other courses as you go through your accounting classes here at Ozarka College. So make sure you put those away and keep up with them, but you only need the first 6 chapters for this course, so I would keep those together. The first thing I wanted to go over with you is the assignments for Chapter 1, and these are located in the activities in the first 3 weeks of the class for Chapter 1. And there are several activities that are required for you to complete for this section of the course, and I just kind of wanted to go over those with you a little bit today. The first assignment that's listed is the Chapter 1 Accounting in Action discussion. This is based on a 30-minute video that I have posted there for you to watch. It's on YouTube, so it's pretty decent quality. The video is a little outdated. It was made quite a while ago for the books, or for a book publisher. The reason I keep using this video even though it's outdated is that the content is phenomenal. It does a very good job of talking about why we need to study accounting. I've told my classes before, I have a 4-year bachelor's degree in business management and a master's degree in business administration, and during the time that I was going to school, no one ever really explained to me why I needed to know accounting. Like I said, I wasn't an accounting major, and the schools that I went to, you had the management department and the marketing department and a finance department and econ department and accounting department, all of the different parts of business, and each one of those departments acted like they were standalone, and you didn't really need to know anything else. And so that kind of hindered me. When I watched this video for the first time preparing for this class several years ago, the impact that it had on me as far as realizing, hey, accounting is part of everything the business does, really helped me to understand why, even if I don't want to be an accountant, I need to understand what the accountant does and what's available in that field. So the video does a very good job of describing that. The discussion just asked you to talk about how you feel about it. If it encourages you to study accounting, if it discourages you to study accounting, if it interests you in that field. So just watch the video and then answer the discussion question. This is your chance to make sure that you review the instructions for doing discussions that are in the syllabus. Also, I included some of those guidelines in this discussion, so you can make sure that you are doing a college level writing project as you work on your discussions. I do expect them to be college level when you're doing your writing, so this gives you a chance to practice and understand that and make sure you're doing them correctly. So that's the first discussion. It's called Accounting in Action. The second activity listed in week 1 is the Intro to my Ozarka assignment. Everyone who takes an online class here at Ozarka is usually required to take this course. If you've already been in College Success or you've taken a previous online course, you may have already completed this. So I can tell on the roster, it tells me if you've completed the course or not. And so I will record those points for you. You need to complete that as soon as possible. That's why I put it in the first week while there's not very many other assignments. It takes about 3 hours to complete that little course, but it goes over how to do things in my Ozarka as far as submitting, taking exams, doing discussion boards. So if you're not familiar with those, it can be very helpful and educational for you. So make sure you complete that course if you have not already done so. If you've already taken it, I will give you the points for that and you will get credit for that course. Week 2, I don't have anything due that week. That's just because I wanted to give you a little more time to work on the assignments for Chapter 1. So make sure that you go down to week 3 and look at the assignments. On the activities page, everything is listed in the week that it is due, not when you need to be working on it. So make sure you look at the due dates. Many of them are due on Mondays of that week. So you don't have the whole week to work. It's due on Monday. So make sure you look at those due dates and understand that. On week 3, the first assignment is called Chapter 1 Discussion Questions. The Chapter 1 discussion questions are in your textbook. They are kind of a review of the reading material. And I wanted to go over the instructions for that assignment with you. I have given you some resources for answering the discussion questions, and I also gave you some pretty explicit directions on completing these. First, I want you to read the textbook. It is very important that you read the book because, as Chapter 1 talks about, accounting has its own language, and so some of the terms that you may think you know what they mean don't mean the same thing to an accountant. And so you need to read through the chapter, make sure you understand that. It will help you to understand what you're talking about. If you look on page 3 of your textbook, there's a list of new terms. They have this at the beginning of each chapter. It's all the terms that are going to be introduced in that chapter. You need to make sure you focus on those as you're reading. You'll see usually they're highlighted and bolded. Sometimes they have definitions on the side in little boxes. So just make sure that you review those terms and understand that. At the beginning of each section in the textbook, there are objectives. These go along with the chapter objectives, but they tell you what you're going to be talking about in that section. If you read the objectives before you read the section, then you know what to look for as you're reading through the chapter. After you read through the chapter and you look at the objectives and the new terms, I have posted a video here under the instructions and resources. It's called Chapter 1 YouTube Video. It's just an introduction to accounting. They talk about many of the things that are going to be talked about in Chapter 1. And so it's just a reinforcement tool. Some people prefer audio-visual to reading. It doesn't substitute for reading the chapter, but it will help if you like to see visual input into that experience. Again, it's to reinforce the material from the textbook. Then, after you've done that, I want you to go to the end of the chapter on page 16 and read through the chapter summary, which lists all of the chapter objectives, and it kind of gives the answer to each of those objectives from the chapter that talks about and kind of summarizes those ideas for you. So that can help you to narrow down a little bit on each topic. They also have a glossary on page 17 that gives you the definition for each one of the terms that's introduced. So you have the technical definitions for every one of those new terms. They're in the glossary, so that makes them real easy to get to and find the definitions, okay? Finally, after you've done each of those steps, you need to answer the discussion questions on page 18. Each chapter has a different number of questions. This chapter 1 has 12 questions. Some of them have more, some of them have less. But I just want you to go through those. You need to type your answers into a Word document so that you can submit them in MyOzarka. You do not have to type the questions, just the answers. But if you type the questions and the answers together, this gives you a very usable study guide to help you study for the exam later. So I recommend that you type the question and the answers in one document, and that way you don't have to go flip through the textbook to be able to review and study those for the exam. Okay, the next assignment in week 3 is the Chapter 1 online quiz. The online quizzes are on the textbook website. If you click on this assignment, I've given you the instructions. It just says to complete the Chapter 1 multiple choice quiz on the textbook website. I've given you a link under resources to the textbook website, and I've also given you a Word document that is step-by-step instructions for the Chapter 1 online quiz. I have screenshots so that you can see each one of the screens that you're going to see as you go through the steps to take the quiz. I have circled all of the buttons you need to click and all the choices you need to make so that you can get to the quiz. Once you answer all the questions on the quiz, it has a little button so that you can grade the quiz. And once you grade it, it will give you a screen that shows how many you got correct and how many you got incorrect. Once you get that screen up on your computer, I want you to do a screenshot of that screen. This is usually done by pressing Shift and the print screen button on your keyboard. Most computers have a print screen button somewhere up around the function keys or above the number pad on your keyboard. Sometimes it says PRT SCR, sometimes it says print screen, sometimes it just says PRSC, but that button allows you to take a screenshot. It just takes a picture of your desktop, and then you can go into Word and hit the paste button, and it puts that picture into a document, which you can then save and upload in MyOzarka so I can see the results of your quiz. And whatever you make on the quiz is what you're going to get on your grade. You can take the quiz more than once. So if you take it and you only get 7 or 8 correct and you want to take it again, just send me your best one. So if you do it again and you get a 10, send me the one that you make the best grade on, okay? And that way I can give you credit for that. All right. The next assignment for Chapter 1 is the Accounting Theory and GAAP discussion. GAAP stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. This is in the second section of Chapter 1. They talk about this. They talk about the boards that are there to create these principles. They talk about how accountants input into that. And if you click down on the resources for your GAAP discussion, I have given you 4 articles to read. One of them is a Word document, and the other 3 are links to websites. They're fairly short articles, but they just talk about what GAAP is, what it's used for, and they give you all of the assumptions and principles and constraints that GAAP uses to make sure that it does a good job of controlling the accounting industry. And the point of this is so that everybody who is doing accounting for a publicly traded company, which would be things that sell stock, right? They want to make sure that everybody reports and does their accounting the same so that those companies can be compared and people can invest with more knowledge of the company. And so GAAP controls that reporting process and makes sure that accountants are using the same steps, processes, and procedures across the board as they do their accounting. And that way everybody is reporting things the same, and people can compare those companies when they want to do investing. So that's a discussion. So after you read the articles, you just click on the discussion and answer the discussion question. It just asks you, about your opinion, how you feel about this, what you think how it impacts businesses and why it's important for businesses to use this. So you can just answer that discussion, and that will complete that assignment. And then the last assignment for Chapter 1 on Week 3 is the objective exam over this chapter. The objective exam is multiple choice or true false. It covers the reading material. It may be terms, definitions. It may be steps, why we do things a certain way. It may be over accounting theory that they talk about in the chapters. And so the objective questions cover all of that material. There are 20 questions on this exam, and you have 60 minutes to complete it. So you have plenty of time to go through that and answer the questions and submit that. The objective exam is worth 40 points. So that will give you everything you need to do for Chapter 1. And that will lead you into the next week, where you'll begin working on Chapter 2 for your Intro to Accounting class. I am glad that you're taking this class. I hope to hear from you. I'll be checking the discussion boards and your assignments. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me using the course mail. And I will get back with you as soon as I can on any questions or concerns or problems that you're having. It is very important for this class that you go through and you use all the materials that I'm giving you. If it's videos, if it's handouts, I'll be giving you PowerPoint presentations. I'll be giving you Excel files that you can use to do your homework in. All of those resources are very, very important, and you need to use those as extensively as you can. The textbook website, I'm giving you that link. We're going to be doing the online quizzes, but there are a lot of other tools and learning resources on that website. Feel free to use anything on that website that helps you to study. Again, I thank you for being in my class. I hope we have a good semester. And this will lead us into Chapter 2. So have a good day, and thank you.